What's up, guys? Welcome to another video, and we are going to replace the alternator on our 2004 Mitsubishi Outlander. I've been driving it for a couple months now, and I kind of suspected this might be an issue. When I first got it, the alternator looks original, but it didn't look good. So I kind of suspected this is something probably that it would have to address at some point, and it just happened. I was coming home from work, and the battery light and the brake light came on, indicating that there's an issue with the charging system on the Outlander. I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. So there it is, the battery light right there and the brake light. Typically when this comes on, specifically for this Outlander, after doing some research, the alternator is basically, there's an issue with the charging system. There could be multiple issues, but I'll show you why I've diagnosed that it is the alternator. Another indication is I have my car charger here, and as you can see, it's only reading 12.1 volts. Normally this would be pushing around 13, 4, 13 and a half if you have a healthy alternator. I'm only getting 12.1, which means there is nothing going on. It's not charging. The alternator is not doing what it's supposed to do, charging the vehicle and obviously running the electronics on the vehicle for it to run. So basically the Outlander is just running on the battery. The battery on this Outlander looks fairly new and healthy. The vehicle's still running. It's running amazingly still on the battery. I'm getting droppage on the voltage, obviously, when I run more accessories. It's not something you should do long term. You should actually address the issue if it is the alternator, if it does come up. This is going to be for the 4G69, okay? 2003 Outlanders, maybe some 2004s, I'm not exactly sure, but specifically it's for the 4G69 doing this alternator replacement. I know definitely the 2003 Outlanders, when the first generation Outlanders first came out, they did have a 4G64, and it's an older motor. The 4G69 is the same displacement, 2.4, but it has a MyVec, and it is set up differently as far as the accessories like the AC and the alternator, and I'm going to show you that. So this video should apply to like any other Mitsubishi vehicles that have the 4G69. So the 2004 to 2006 Mitsubishi Outlander will have the 4G69, the 10th generation Mitsubishi Galant. So the later years, maybe like 2008, 9, I'm not sure, but if you have a 4G69, it should be relatively the same. But it is the single cam MyVec 4G69. So I'm going to show you what I did to diagnose it is an alternator. It's going to show you how to test the alternator through the battery and actually testing it directly through the alternator. Okay, here was what the 4G69 looks like. Okay, it has the MyVec valve cover. Other way to know if it is a 4G69 is your VIN plate. The very first thing under the VIN number says engine will say 4G69. So again, it's specifically for this motor. So right now we're going to test the battery. I know the battery is healthy. I'm probably going to get like above 12 volts. So with your multimeter, doesn't matter what brand, right? You want to go ahead and set it on volts, right? So we have it set on volts. So I'm going to lay the multimeter here, and then what we're going to do is your red goes on the positive, black goes to negative. I should be getting a healthy battery, 12.3 to 12.5, somewhere around that range. Anything below 12 is not good. The battery is not good. So we're going to put positive on the positive lead, black on the negative lead, and as you can see, I'm getting 12.45 volts, almost basically 12 and a half volts. Battery is healthy. I just now tested that. I know the battery is good. Next, we're going to test if the alternator through the battery is charging, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, after you start the engine, as you can hear it, the engine is running. what we're going to do is we're going to test it like we tested the battery, right? Positive on the positive terminal, negative on the negative terminal. You should be reading 13 volts and above, ideally 13.4, 13.5 if your alternator is healthy and charging correctly. Anything below that is basically a sign your alternator is dying or dead. If you're not getting anything, that's even worse. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it back. So I'm getting 12, basically 12 volts. 12 volts from the alternators. Yeah, even from the terminals, same thing, 12 volts. That is telling me the alternator is failed or failing. It's just not doing its thing. Now I'm going to show you how to test it directly from the alternator. Okay, the alternator is located right up front, right here. This is the front end engine. That's the exhaust manifold is right there. Very easy, accessible. So to test it, I'm going to put the multimeter here, right? To test it, what you want to do is see this cap right here next to the plug. That's where you want to test it. That's where your main voltage is coming out to the positive on the battery. So that is actually the part that's charging the battery. We're going to put this positive terminal on that and then just ground it anywhere on the body of the vehicle, right? And then we should get a reading. Again, it should be 13 volts and above. Put it on here, just make sure you, and then I'm just going to ground it anywhere on the vehicle as long as you're touching the frame of the vehicle, right? So here we go. Oh, here we go. 11.98. Nothing. So I'm going to do it again. 11.98. So the alternator is dead. It's not doing its thing. It needs to be replaced. So once you diagnose that the battery's good and you diagnose that the alternator is bad, then you just replace the alternator. Fairly simple. It should be easy to pull out, and I'm going to show you through that process. It should be the same with any vehicle with a 4G69. Some differences, but generally it should be the same process, removing it and reinstalling it. Okay, one of the first steps to do to start getting ready to replace the alternator, you want to disconnect the battery, right? I disconnected both positive and negative. It's not connected whatsoever. Next, you want to remove the passenger side wheel and tire. Completely remove it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this plastic piece here to get to the tensioner so you can release tension so you can loosen and get that belt off the alternator. Okay, once you remove this cover here, this exposes the tensioner. That's the tensioner right there. So that's like a 1/2 inch socket, like stud. So if you have a breaker bar what's 1/2 inch, you put it there, and then what you do is you just apply, I think you turn it counterclockwise. That releases the tension off the belt, and that allows you to remove the belt from the alternator. Then we tack it from basically start removing the alternator. So what you want to do is you want to take a 1/2 inch, right, and take it either a breaker bar or whatever. You're gonna probably need some leverage to torque it. So to loosen it, you want to move the tensioner this way, right, counterclockwise. Then that'll release tension off the serpentine belt, and then you can loosen it, get it loose, just so you can get it off the alternator pulley. So what we're gonna do here is just do over here, and then, like I said, just do that, and that should release tension off the belt, and then you can just get it loose, let it go back, and you should be able to loosen the belt off the alternator pulley. So we just go up here, and then you just get the belt off. Now it's off the alternator, and then All you have to do now is we loosen off, you take off all this right here, the plug, this that goes to the positive cable, and any of these brackets out of the way so we can remove the alternator out. There's two bolts, one here and one on the bottom, that mount to the alternator bracket. You need to get those off. I believe those are going to be 14 millimeter bolts, and then everything here looks like it's like 10 millimeters. So let's get those off. Okay, here is the alternator taken out. Now I can visually see it, and I'm pretty dang surprised. This looks like the OEM alternator from 2004. Look at that, if you can see. See if I can like zoom into it so you guys can better see it. Mitsubishi Electric Company. That is the OEM part number right there on top there. Starts with MN183450. I don't know if this has been replaced once, and if the previous owner replaced it with another OEM alternator, so kudos to him or her. But this is an OEM. If this is the original one, this Outlander has like 164,000 miles, 162. It's around there. If it lasted that long, that's pretty damn impressive. I can't even be mad. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I kind of suspected that this was probably going to go out by just the look of it. I thought it would have been like an aftermarket AutoZone special Duralast type of deal, but this is OEM. So anyways, there's the old one. Here's the new one. I told you I'd order a Denso. Let's take it out. So here is the Denso unit right there. This is Denso. It looks the part, guys. I do notice a slight difference, which doesn't look like to be a huge deal. Right here, let me see if I can. So you didn't see in the last part of the video, the Denso one that I got from Rock Auto it was wrong. Apparently in 2004 there was a mid refresh on the Outlander where they switched from this 4G64 to the 4G69. So basically, if you have a 2004 Outlander, you might run into this issue. Basically, the alternator I got from Denso or from Rock Auto was for a 4G64. So just a heads up if you have that issue. Now the thing is, I couldn't afford having the downtime to send that one back and getting the correct one. And plus, Rock Auto did not have a Denso alternator for the 4G69 for the Outlander. So I was kind of desperate, so I looked around locally. So fortunately, I found a place here locally. They rebuild starters and alternators. They have like a 4.8 rating on Google. I read the reviews, and tons of great reviews, customer service, the quality, everything is very positive. So I went ahead and checked, gave them a call, and the great thing is they were not that far from the house, which made it even better. So this is the alternator after it got it rebuilt. Basically, just because of normal wear and tear, the regulator, they told me, was bad on it, and they went ahead and replaced all the brushes and internal components of it. And I know they were telling me the truth, because this is the original alternator. It still has the Mitsubishi sticker on it, which they told me. So it's still original casing and everything. But they said everything looks good. They have a warranty. I think have 1 year warranty on it. But yeah, I am very impressed. They cleaned it up really good. It looks absolutely amazing. It looks like a brand new, like, production alternator. Look at that. So that's even cleaned the plug. So I'm impressed with this. Here in local in Orlando, and you want your OEM starter or alternator rebuilt, this place, man, they do really good work. And they only took them 2.5 hours to rebuild it, so they can actually rebuild your stuff the same day. I should have went with them first, but now I know. So let's go back home and install the new rebuilt alternator back on the Outlander. It's pretty straightforward. Everything just goes right back where the way you took it off, it just goes right back in. So that's what we're going to do. Shouldn't take that long. Everything's all prepped. Literally, all I'm waiting for is put the new rebuilt alternator in. So let's go ahead and get this done. Okay, there it is. It's all hooked up, bolted in. Now all I have to do is put on the belt, then hook on the cables, and then we'll check voltage. We should be getting 13.5, 14 volts from this alternator after it's rebuilt. So let's continue. Now you just have to put like I said, the serpentine belt back on. Here's a picture of the diagram specifically for the Mitsubishi Outlander with the 4G69. That is how the belt is supposed to be routed. So like I said, that's all you have to do. You want to make sure that these grooves, let me show you here, these grooves on the belt are lined up with the grooves on the pulleys. All right, you want to make sure it's lined up, because if it's not, it could eat up the belt prematurely. If everything lines up, it should line up all pretty much automatically. You shouldn't have to do much as far as getting everything lined up. So like I said, that's what we're doing right now, just making sure all these belt is lined up. Put the tensioner once you kind of get the belt routed out, you just want to make sure before you start the engine, nothing, just make sure the belt is aligned. It's not sitting funny. It should all be sitting within the grooves. So on the harmonic balancer side, it's sitting in there. That's the compressor. Looks like that's sitting good over there. I think that's the power steering pulley. We're going to check the alternator. Alright, see, this is why I said you want to make sure, see, it's not sitting right. So I have to loosen tension and just move the belt in there, and we should be good. Let's do that real quick. Okay, there you go. See, it is lined up inside the pulley, power steering. As see if I can zoom in there real quick. I don't know if you can tell. It's lined up. It's not sitting funny. So yeah, this is all set and ready to go. We just need to put the wheel back on and put a little cover plate back on, and we're good. Now, fortunately, this was not detrimental. It could have been a lot worse. Be careful when you put tension, because this top snapped off. That's where the 1/2-inch socket part goes in. So I had, fortunately, it wasn't damage, wasn't bad enough to where I couldn't adjust it. So just be careful. Next time I'm gonna have to replace this at some point, so no big deal, but just be mindful of that. So let's go ahead and button this up, put everything back on. Okay, that cover plate's all on, so everything is all set. We're gonna mount the tire, lower down the Outlander, and then we're gonna check voltage on the alternator to show you what it should be putting out. Okay, everything is hooked back up, so we're just gonna test the battery again. It should be giving out 12 volts. There's no reason why it would be draining, because obviously it was unhooked. So there we go, it's at 12.44. That's good. So now we're going to start the Outlander, and we should be getting 13.5 14 volts from the new alternator charging the battery. Remember, last time it was barely giving out 12 volts. So let's go and test that out. All right, engine is on. Now we're going to go and test the alternator, what type of what we're getting out of the alternator now. So we're back at it. There you go, look at that. 14.2 volts. That is nice. That's definitely charging the battery. Now we're gonna go ahead and test the voltage from the alternator. We should be getting a similar reading. All right, remember, we're gonna test it from here where this positive is, and then I'm gonna ground it. I'm gonna ground it right here where the ground is on the vehicle. So I'm gonna put the positive on here. Pay attention to the multimeter there. 14.5. Straight from the alternator. That is healthy. There you go, that's the alternator again. Running perfectly. Bolt is not wobbly. That means everything is good. Now let's go ahead and check inside. Remember, I have that little voltmeter thing in the cigarette lighter that gives me the voltage. That should be reading much higher than the 12 that I was getting previously. And here he is, see? 13.8. I don't know if you can read that. Getting 13.8 volts. So it's definitely charging. If you look here, I have my e-brake on. The battery light e-brake is no longer showing. So the Outlander, it sees that the charging system is working properly. So another way, if you really want to test how good your alternator is, you pretty much turn on pretty much all your accessories. So what we're going to do is turn on the AC, turn on the radio, and turn on the headlights to put as much load on the alternator. It should not dip really low. It should stay around the 13 range. So right now it's at 13.7, right? So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the radio. It's not going to play anything. The radio is just on for obvious. I don't want any trademark copyright issues. Radio's on. I'm going to turn on the AC. I'm going to turn on full blast. So wow, it went up. And then I'm going to turn on the headlights. Headlights are on. Just to show you, you can see headlights are on. I'm going to even turn on the hazards. So the hazards are on. Hear the blinking. Look at that. It's healthy. Look at that. It's still 13, 14 volts. That just lets you know This alternator is good. So there you go. That's how to change your alternator on your 2004 Mitsubishi Outlander. Okay, now remember, 04 is a very unique year because midway through the production year, Mitsubishi switched out the 2.4 liter 4G64 to the 2.4 liter 4G69. If your production date is 06 and beyond of 2023, that means your Outlander has the 4G69. And then obviously if you look early in the video, the 4G69 has a different valve cover look to it. It has the MyVec, whereas the 4G64 doesn't. It doesn't say MyVec and just looks different. All right, just pay attention if you have 04 and you're looking to replace your alternator. But if you have a 4G69, it should be midway 2004, 05 to 06. That was the last year for the first generation Mitsubishi Outlander. So I hope this video helps you out. If you have an Outlander, if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer it for you. And also, if you're in the Orlando, Central Florida area and you want to get started on an alternator rebuilt, I will leave information in the description on the place where I did it. They did an excellent job. You saw the alternator. They were very friendly, provide all the answers I needed when I wanted to know what's wrong with the alternator, and they gave it to me. Oh, just to cover that, the regulator is bad and a lot of the internal components were just wore through age. Had 164,000 plus miles on the original one. So they were pretty impressed when they replaced it, that it lasted that long. So big ups to them. I'll leave the information on the description. Thanks again, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in any more videos concerning Outlander. Drive safe, guys.